Okay, this is Duality Dungeon, Solo Flawless, one phasing both bosses on Hunter. The whole run just under 19 minutes. Really happy with this run. I was trying to do this on stream, but I didn't quite manage to do it. But last night I was running some off stream because I'm also doing this to partly farm for the Storm Chaser, the arc heavy linear, because there's some new rolls on it with Monument of Triumph. And I managed to get it off stream, but I was recording, so I'm playing it back and giving some commentary just so I can talk about the builds, tips and tricks, that kind of thing. I've got a lot of fondness for this dungeon. Back in the day, like the first video of mine that I put on this channel that kind of popped off and got like a lot of views was my Solo Flawless of this dungeon when it first came out. That was 4 years ago now. I think it got a lot of views because I two-phased Gahlran, which at the time not a lot of people were doing, and that was with Blade Barrage, Star Eater Scales, Parasite, and an interaction with, do you remember Elemental Wells, the thing that they removed in Lightfall? Solar Elemental Wells, it would give you an extra damage bonus to your weapons, which stacked with Radiant. They eventually patched that out, but that was how I was able to get the two-phase. Anyway, I really like this dungeon, and rather than getting a team together to just farm individual encounter, like farm Caitl or something, just to try and get the linear, I thought I'd just do a load of solo runs and try and get a nice, clean, quick run with one phases. And yeah, managed to get it, so here it is. Obviously using Strand for Traversal, I used Theodolite, the Micro Missile, GL, with Reconstruction so I can get 2 in the mag, Eager Edge. I like Strand for this kind of thing on Hunter because you have access to 2 grapples as well, and you can skip a lot of the bell stuff and make that really quick. In terms of the build for the actual encounters, it's sort of almost one loadout for the whole thing. It's not quite, you'll see. But it's all the same aspects and fragments, all solar, all Blade Barrage, mostly the same weapons, all the same aspects and fragments. And yeah, it works really well. Blade Barrage is obviously top tier now in terms of damage super. I'm using Tablet of Ruin because it gives access to particle reconstruction. Yes, for a 27% buff to fusion rifles, which I'm using 1k here, so it's great with that, as well as Limit Break, which gives an extra 15% to super damage. I'm using Acacia's Dejection, I think it's called, the Root of Nightmares Trace, because it's just really good for ad clear. Traces are really good for ad clear now. I think I prefer them to Rocket Sidearms in some cases. This one's got Incandescent and Field Prep on, because with Field Prep and an Abundant Ammo mod, you can get the ammo gen up to 91%. Not 91%, 91, which is really, really high. So you can just use it like a primary, keep getting special ammo bricks, and you haven't got a problem. So tips and tricks for Gahlran. For a solo, there's a technique where you can get extra time at damage phase, and it's really easy to do because you have to run both sides separately anyway, which is what you need to do to get it. What you do is go into the Nightmare at first, kill both Scions, but only pick up one of the flags. You could pick up both, but it doesn't really make a difference because you've got to run both sides separately anyway. And what I did, I picked up Dog because I think the other one was Axe. Axe is the best one to leave for last, the best one to do just before damage. So basically, anyone that isn't Axe, you want to pick up first, which in this case was Dog. Come out, kill the Bellkeepers, then you can go pick up the second flag, which is still there. But because you didn't pick it up the first time, the game still thinks, oh, you need a flag, and it spawns another Scion. You can just see it there. But you leave that Scion up now, and it means that when you're running it and killing all the mini Gahlrans on the second run, there's a Scion in there which you can kill, which gives you more time in the Nightmare, so it's a longer DPS phase. I'm running triple Solar Surge the whole time. I'm not doing any swaps for scavs or anything like that. I'm running all Powerhouse armor on Shards of Galanor, as well as a 4-piece Exodus Down, just because Exodus Down, the Nessus set, is really good for survivability. If you get your shields broken, it picks up orbs near you, and every time you gain or lose an armor charge, you get healing and damage reduction. So that's really good. So there we go, just killed the Scion, got the extra time, kill most of these guys. Now there's a technique that I do, is I lure the final mini Gahlran up to near the door, because that unstable essence buff that you get from killing these guys gives a 50% bonus to all damage. So what you want to do is lure them there so that you pick one up just before you leave and you get the maximum time. And then look how much damage this Blade Barrage does. It does like over a third just on its own. And then you got to be careful with 1k, because if Gahlran jumps at you just as it's about to explode, you will die. So I'm trying to keep my distance, get away from him. Because I've got Ember of Empyrean on, that's refreshing the Radiant and the Restoration, because all of those projectiles are tracking to the ads and clearing them. Run out of 1k, Radiant melee to refresh, and then I'm using the Beacon, the Guardian Games fusion with Rewind Rounds and Controlled Burst, which is just a really good extra damage if you need it. Sometimes you can kill just with the 1k, especially if there's heavy ammo bricks on the ground there for you to get. And then, yeah, swap back to Strand for the next Traversal. Something I was going to mention there about the Gahlran encounter, which I thought about during damage. Can I remember what it is? No, it's fine. If I think of it later, I'll mention it. So yeah, the GL, Eager Edge, really good for just jumping straight up here, and then you can just skip all the platforms. Run out of sword ammo, which is a bit annoying. So I can't skip through these next corridors quite as quickly. I mean, obviously, I think I didn't really look at any speed runs or anything. I wasn't really trying to speed run. I was just trying to get a clean, quick run. I'm sure people are doing this even quicker with fully optimized stuff. Probably Shat's getting all over the place. I'm not sure what they'd use for damage strats. Oh, that's it. That's what I was going to mention at Gahlran. Because I did swap as well. As soon as I kill that last mini Gahlran before damage phase, I just quickly did a manual swap from the Trace to the Beacon. That's the only swap that I did at Gahlran. I do a couple of swaps at Caitl. I don't do any swaps during this next encounter. This section is always the same, so that guy needs 3 turns. This one needs 2. And this last one needs 2. I'm going to show all of the loadouts at the end anyway, but I'm just going to sort of roughly mention them as we go. What is it? It's, yeah, Blade Barrage, Acrobat Dodge so I can get Radiant, Knife Trick for melee, Healing Grenade so I can get Restoration, Knock 'em down and on your mark. So Knock 'em down is essential because of more Blade Barrage knives, and Throwing Knife refunds are really good because when you hit with the knife, it gives you Radiant, and then the kill refunds the knife instantly. On your mark, I basically just had it on for the fragment slots. It is obviously working in the background, and when you get up to max stacks, you get Cure from getting kills. I think it also increases your precision damage, potentially. If you want to use like Crack Shot or something like that, you can, but you'll just need to choose which fragment not to use. But yeah, I was using Torches for Radiant Melee, Beams, so that the solar super projectiles have better tracking, which is actually really good for Blade Barrage, especially when you're using it for single target damage. Mercy, so Fire Sprites give Restoration. Empyrean for buff refreshes, and Solace, so your buffs are longer. So yeah, you could run Crack Shot and get rid of one of those and probably still be as effective. I just found that was, you know, a comfortable build for me to do this. I found that with Eager Edge, it's pretty comfortable to be able to get both flags in a single run. Sometimes if you're slow on the ad clear, you won't be able to. You'll have to go get one flag at a time. But like this, especially how good the Trace Rifle is for ad clear, it's also an anti-barrier archetype, the Acacias. So it just cuts straight through the flag's shields, which makes it really, really quick here. But, you know, it's normal, it's not master. They're only red bars, they fall over anyway, you know. The other thing that helps with the ad clear in this is on the Tablet of Ruin, you also have, what's it called? Harsh Refraction, which gives a 51% damage bonus to Trace Rifles against targets that have an elemental debuff matching the element. So because this has Incandescent on, as I'm ad clearing, other enemies are getting scorched, and then they go down even quicker. just making sure I have solar buff so that when I pop my Blade Barrage, I get the extra 15% from Limit Break. I mean, 15%, it's a small buff, but it is helpful, and it just helps these guys go down in one super. Other artifact mods that work well with this: Elemental Siphon, kinetic or solar rapid final blows spawn a elemental pickup matching your super. So that's a way of me getting extra fire sprites, or actually fire sprites in general, because I don't have the fragment on for generating fire sprites because there wasn't space for it. So that's just a really nice way of getting the fire sprites to then be getting extra restoration as well as extra grenade energy to fill up my healing nade quicker as well. And gold from lead, we're picking up special grants heavy. There's basically no other artifact mods that work with this build. I just kind of put on the ones for Bolt Charge, which are also on Tablet of Ruin, just so that if I'm running this in a team activity, I'm probably going to be getting Bolt Charge from, you know, a Titan who's going to be running Storm's Keep. So yeah, it's really just the 5 artifact mods that work well with this build: Elemental Siphon, Gold from Lead, Harsh Refraction, Particle Reconstruction, and Limit Break. I think that's about it for all the notes. I might as well talk through my armor mods, actually. So yeah, all powerhouse armor with Galanor and 4-piece Nessus Exodus down. I'm at 160 super with 2 super font mods, so that's always going to be at 200 while I have armor charge for maximum damage. And 1 harmonic siphon, so I can make orbs with this solar trace that I'm ad clearing. Arms have a grenade surge, just because I'm running powerhouse and I wasn't lucky enough to get much grenade tertiary. I think I have like two health tertiary pieces. For some reason, I swear the Nessus armor just drops with health like 50% of the time. It's crazy. That's my conspiracy theory anyway. So yeah, grenade font just to help with that, so I'm not off cooldown on my healing grenades too often. 1 heavy-handed, so I make orbs from melee kills, and a harmonic loader, so my solar weapons load quicker. Triple solar surge for 22% extra damage on my solar weapons from that. 2 time dilations, and 1 powerful attraction. That's just so that I have as much armor charge as possible, and it hopefully won't fall off completely, because it's quite important I keep up that 200 super as well as the surges. So I think we're on the 3rd round of this. So if you get lucky in this encounter, you'll get like the 2 on the same side, so either Cup and Sun or Dog and Axes, and you can actually use Eager Edge and the ledges that are at the very back of the arena to sort of skip from one to the other, which makes the timing really, really easy. But even if you don't get that, which I don't think I got on any of these, and if you're having to run opposite corners, it's still pretty comfortable as long as you're ad clearing quickly. You know, make sure you've got Radiant up, use the Trace Rifle. Yeah, this is the last one, isn't it? So this guy can be really annoying because he jumps in the air. So yeah, you never want to pop the Blade Barrage when he's about to jump, because some of them can miss and then you end up having to tickle him down with other weapons. So what I did there was I broke the shield, because he has an elemental shield, that one. I broke the shield with the Trace Rifle, and then it kind of staggers him a little. So I know that 100% while I'm in the animation for the Blade Barrage, he's not going to jump, and it's all going to hit, and it'll just kill him in 1, basically. Yeah, I don't think I've got any more notes to talk about. This is a very effective skip, because this bit can take ages, running around and doing all the different bells. So at Caitl, I start with, same solo build. I start with Parasite and the Trace Rifle for ad clear, which I use on the first bell of damage. So Blade Barrage, Parasite, and then a little bit of the Beacon Fusion, the same one that I was using at Gahlran. But then once that bell ends... this is important, that bit. When I did the grapple melee, don't grapple melee forward, because if you land and hit the stairs at the bottom, the encounter will start. so you won't get to rally, which I had happen to me on quite a few runs because I'm an idiot. And that really wastes a lot of time when you try and build up all your super and ammo. Because this is actually a very quick encounter to get to damage, so let's take out all the Bellkeepers and then look at what the symbols are and then get in position for those. So yeah, after the first bell, I swap to 1k, and then that's just more effective for the second and third bells, because Parasite's only really useful once you've got that maximum Worm's Hunger. I was trying to... I've got the Catalyst for it, so I've got Envious Arsenal, and for a while I was trying to do that and just rotate and keep doing Parasite hits, but it's nowhere near as much damage as just swapping off, even though you lose some ammo. What I do here is once I get both flags, I just shoot all the War Beasts. You see I'm about to spawn a Heavy Brick. So now there's a Heavy Brick there. So during damage phase, that brick's still going to be there. And so hopefully I can pick it up after I swap to 1k and just get a little bit more cushion. The damage is pretty comfortable though. Like I didn't even have to chase Caitl back to where she was leaving without the bell buff. Because the bell buff is obviously a 10 times buff. So you really don't want to be in a position where you're trying to like finish her off without that, because just be very, very low for you to be able to get away with that. But on this one, it's fairly comfy. I killed pretty quickly on the third bell. So get the Bellkeepers here, and then I'll do a bit more ad clear to make more Heavy Bricks. So yeah, I made one there, and because I'm only at 195 weapons, even though all of my powerhouse armor has either a weapon or super tuning to like fully maximize that combo, I can still only get to 160 super, 195 weapons when running Triple Surge. For the unlock the Vault encounter, I switched to an Eager Edge Sword, because you don't really need a damage weapon for that, because all of the mini bosses just die in one Blade Barrage. And I also, because you don't really need like full surges for that either, I changed one surge to a Harmonic Siphon. But anyway, on this, come in for damage, I kill the first two Bellkeepers just so they're not in the way and not giving me extra damage. I make sure I finish off with a melee to make sure I have Radiant for limit break as well as weapon damage, Blade Barrage, Parasite, and then Beacon. And this thing cooks with Particle and Radiant and all the Solar Surges. It's rapid fire. You do a lot of DPS with that. So I'm just, yeah. Always try and keep yourself in between Caitl and the next bell, just so that she stomps occasionally. And that buys you a bit more time. Acrobat dodge for more Radiant, and then cook with 1k. Which obviously also benefits from Particle. Now the time has run out, there's no point shooting anymore. And yeah, I've managed to get 4 shots. You get a lot of snipers at this point, you don't really have time to deal with them, so you just kind of gotta... That's why I try and keep my healing grenade up for the last spell. And then just move around. And then actually didn't even need to swap back to the beacon. A lot of the other runs I've had, I don't have as much 1k ammo, and I have to do that. But yeah, 1844. Nice, quick, clean run. I've seen on YouTube a few like one phase individual boss videos going up, so I thought it'd be nice just to do a whole run and get that up. So hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you liked, and I'll go through all of the loadouts now. So Blade Barrage, Acrobat Dodge, Triple Jump, Knife Trick, Healing Nade, Knock 'em down on your mark, Torches, Beams, Mercy, Empyrean, Solace. Everybody Glitz, hardly ever use this, just used it for shooting bells mainly. It's just sort of my go-to. I prefer using this with Attrition Orbs and Kinetic Tremors over Multimac, just because it's more effective at range, being an auto rifle. Ocasia's Dejection, Field Prep, which is really good on it. Yeah, like I said in the run, 91 ammo gen with the abundant ammo. Incandescent for ad clear, as well as proccing the artifact mod for extra damage. This is the Beacon Guardian Games fusion. Rewind rounds, control burst. I do also have bait on this one, but I kind of prefer control burst because you don't have to spend time proccing bait, And because control burst, it's only 20% rather than the 30% of bait and switch, but it does also speed up your charge time. And I've got a liquid coils, so I do slightly more damage with each burst, but a slower charge time masterwork, and a charge time mod. So I don't really need backup mag or anything because it's a rapid fire. It already has 7 in the mag, and rewind rounds, you basically never need to reload it. It's just really good for quick extra damage when you run out of heavy at both bosses. 1k Parasite. The Egreg sword I use is Sin and Seer just because it's solar, so it also surge matches, and I quite like the wave for ad clear as well. Mine's got Egreg and Assassin's Blade, Sword Scar, Jagged Edge. Artifact, Tablet of Ruin. The only mods that really apply to this run are Elemental Siphon, Gold from Lead, Harsh Refraction, Particle Reconstruction, and Limit Break. Galanor and 4-piece Exodus down, all powerhouse with either a super or weapon tuning. But that puts me at 160 super, 195 weapons with triple solar surge, double time dilation, and powerful attraction. And yeah, the set bonus on Exodus down, 2-piece when your shields become broken, collect all nearby orbs and ammo bricks. And the 4-piece, whenever you gain, lose, or spend an armor charge, heal and gain damage reduction for a short time. And I think that works really well on solar builds because solar by default doesn't really have access to damage resistance unless you're using artifact perks or weapons like you're running Navigator or something, but that's going to massively restrict your build in other ways. So it's just a really good passive way to get additional healing and damage resistance when running solar. If you didn't know, if you're watching this without realizing, Shards of Galanor are really good now because they added extra explosion if all of the blades or most of the blades hit the same target. So it actually massively outdamages a Cuirass Thunder Crash now, which is why this is so good and why the one phase on both bosses in this run was so comfortable. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.